have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond. Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Caraba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980-8483, 340-9400 or 635-9906.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Brusubi opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited, or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051, or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID soto.
That's soto. Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi ma nin domorol ni fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
baraka. Ni ma lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Hello and welcome to the brunch. I'm Lamin Cham, and our weekly look at current affairs is back after a week's absence. Of course, you know that last Saturday, the Gambia hosted the 15th summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, the much talked about OIC summit. This week, we will revisit this summit. We discuss the strengths and weaknesses of the organization, the discussions, who attended and who did not turn up, and what next after the OIC summit. Of course, one of the biggest event in the country, we can say, since independence, in terms of revenue mobilization, in terms of preparations, in terms of organization as far as international meetings is concerned. Out of it, the Gambia has got a modern highway, 20 supportive roads, if you like, feeder roads, and a first-class conference center. Well, that is obviously very obvious, but we will go behind and see all the things that probably might have happened behind the scenes. So this postmortem is going to be the theme of the brunch this week, and with me in the studio to do that is Mr. Nfally Fadera. He is head of communications and branding at the OIC. So in other words, he was Mr. Fixer, if you like, very much on top of issues and organizations there. Nfally, welcome to the brunch.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good.
I'll begin by also extending my greetings and regards to the viewers, wherever they may be. I'm happy to be here. Just like you said, as a country, proudly so, we hosted successfully one of the biggest geopolitical events in the world. Member country, world leaders and delegates from member countries of the OIC 57, and more, all over the world came, and it was a huge success, definitely. So I'm happy to be here to discuss, to look back on the experience and, reflect on everything, what it means for the country, etc., etc.
Good.
Really glad to be here.
Good. It was a once in a lifetime experience for even individual citizens of the Gambia and maybe the country as a whole, because who knows when will such a big meeting happen. The last time we hosted the African Union Summit in June 2006, and we don't know when will that come back to the Gambia, whether that will be in our generation. So this one to OIC. Okay, the OIC, Gambia is no stranger to OIC. We read in history that the Gambian first president played a key role in the formation and even in the running of the organization. He was chairman when crises were happening all over in the Islamic Ummah. So the Gambia had really had a good reputation in the OIC. So let's go straight to the conference. 57 countries all turn up, but only a few at the level of heads of states. And again, many observed that the OIC is mainly seen to be successful when the big wigs, in this case the Saudis, the Iranians, the Kuwaitis, the Emirs from Dubai, and all other things, if at least one of them was president or 2 or 3 of them president, people see that in terms of that, they might think they are more success. So there's a general feeling that they snub the Gambia because of lack of preparations that affect security and maybe their own comfort. What would you say to such comments? Obviously, we know the hotel that was supposed to be built has not been built. What do you take? Would you say to responsible for the large absenteeism among the bigwigs?
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham. But first, before I delve into answering that question, I just want to use this opportunity to say we hosted in a very remarkable manner a very successful event, successful in every sense of the word. And because of that, I will begin by expressing felicitations and congratulations to the president, the government, and the people of the country for hosting one of the most important and biggest events of world politics at the moment. So for me, I think when we are looking at the successes of this event, focusing squarely on the number of heads of state that attended would be very narrow and limiting in my view, because there is more to it than just heads of state showing up and attending this event, and I will come to that in a bit. But for us as a country, I think when we are looking back on this event, whether or not it was successful, what we need to look at is what is it that the summit comes with? What is it that the benefits that it would leave behind for us as a country? And if you look at the infrastructure projects, you referenced them a little earlier in your introduction. We have quite a good number of infrastructure projects that the summit will leave in its wake. The road projects, the water and electricity, the VVIP lounge, the conference center, all of this moving and positioning Gambia in a very strong position as a conference destination. And now, coming back to the summit itself, I think what people need to understand is Gambia as a host country, we have things that are in our control and we have others that are not in our control. And when you look at the things that are in our control as a host country, I think that is what you can judge us by. You can measure our performance by the things that we have in our control. What do we have in our control as a host country is to make sure that the guests receive a befitting reception, the airport arrangements and the airport ceremonies. You know these things much more than I do, because when you have a huge concentration of people arriving at your airport, you need to make sure that you have a seamless handling of the passengers at the airport. Did we succeed in that? I think it is there for everyone to see. We saw it on live TV. We saw how we handled the airport situation. Everything went as smoothly as possible. No big issues. The other element is the transportation of our guests. We have succeeded in that as well. We had a lot of befitting transportation facilities for the guests to use. Accommodation, we provided enough of that. Food, we provided enough of that. The conference facilities, the arrangements, the ceremonies, etc., etc. So in my view, the things that we as a host country was supposed to do, we have done extremely well and remarkably well. So whether or not heads of state come, that is not in our control. Heads of state move based on variety of considerations, and that is something that we cannot do much about. What I do know is we have gone above and beyond to make sure that the guests that are coming are received in a befitting manner. They are well looked after, they are well secured, and that is what we have moved to do. And I must also quickly add that the organizers are happy with the arrangements we have in place, the logistical arrangements in place. They were extremely happy with it, and we have also seen delegates, member countries expressing the same level of satisfaction and commendation. There are countries that have in fact written to express that, Iran being an example. Just last evening also we received an official communication from the ECOWAS Commission expressing the same level of satisfaction, not only with the logistics but also the outcome of the summit. I think when you look at summits, these are the yardsticks you look at, how convenient the entire arrangement was, the logistics, the administrative protocol, etc. And we did remarkably well. If you look at all the arrangements that we have put in place, from the accreditation, the delegates management system, etc., the vehicles. So I think, this is a big moment of pride, and I think it will be very myopic for people to look at it just from the
just because,
yes, and in fact, when we talk about the attendance, we got 100% attendance from member countries.
Yeah,
all the member countries came.
Levels, yeah.
The affiliated organizations of the OIC were also represented at the highest level. Even the observers came. We had presidents from the Russian Federation, the Republic of Tatarstan, the Islamic Development Bank, the Gulf Cooperation Council, Arab League. All of these people were represented at the highest level. And we also had very good representation from, the foreign ministers, etc., etc. So in my view, what is important here is that Gambia as a host country lived up to its expectation. And what are those expectations? Just like I said, are the logistics, the administrative arrangements, the facilities that these people need to that they need, the delegates coming to be able to facilitate their work. And we have done that quite remarkably well, definitely.
Well, you at the secretariat were the body running around to implement all the logistics and all the administrative things required to put in place this thing. But then, of course, you were being oversight or being supervised by agencies such as Ministry of Foreign Affairs and even the Office of the President, not so?
Well, we were, the OIC Gambia Secretariat is a semi-autonomous body.
Okay.
We are under the Office of the President, established by an Act of Parliament. So we work in close collaboration with the Office of the President and the Ministry, but we have our own board that oversees our activities, and the board is chaired by the President, and we also have other relevant government ministries as part of the board. So we are not necessarily under the MOFA or Office of the President as such. We have our own governance, independent governance structure. Obviously, the Office of the President being the chairperson. So the Office of the President is also kind of directly linked to the work that we do. Yes. I
said this because at the end of the day, some of the questions I'm going to ask how independent you were, so that you would be able to know. I would be able to know how competent your body is in answering those questions. When it comes to procuring materials that you have done, signing of contracts for the various projects, how imminent or important or how key was your participation of your secretariat? Were you just implementers or you took part in those decision making?
It depends on the projects that you are referring to. If you are referring to the infrastructure projects that we oversaw and coordinated, the way that it works is maybe let me take a step back. Like I said, we are created by an Act of Parliament, and when we were set up in 2018, our mandate was divided principally into three fundamental areas: resource mobilization, infrastructure, project implementation and coordination, and also the events planning of the summit, which we have also done. So what we do in the way that we work is we go out there, use our goodwill, use the goodwill of the OIC, and raise resources.
That together you raised
about $350 million was raised for the infrastructure projects that we've been implementing. This includes the roads,
the 20 roads,
the 50-kilometer road project, the VVIP lounge, the conference center, the 5-star hotel project, NAWEC, etc., etc. And other stuff that we also managed to do in between. So the way it works is we raise these resources. Since we are working with a multitude of partners, we work with them to unlock these funds, but also to work out the implementation modalities. For example, once we raised the money for the road project, Batil Hardin and the 50-kilometer, so there was a government and governmental.
Let me go back a little bit. There was a conception which your people have tried to clarify. When the monies were mobilized, did the money come here or they stayed in Saudi Arabia with the Saudi fund, and you just draw up the programs? hire the contractors and the money goes to the contractors directly.
Exactly. So that's how this project financing works.
Yeah.
So the monies in their physical form do not come to the Gambia. Yes. So what would happen is you go convince them, have their buy-in into your vision, and they will commit these monies for your use.
Some are grants, some
are grants, some are loans.
Yeah.
But regardless of what form they take, the way that it works is, you work in close collaboration with these donors and the financiers up to the point of selecting a contractor and supervisors.
Now, who selected the contract?
This contract selection was done in country here. It was done in the Gambia here,
for example,
by a multitude of companies. I was going to organizations.
Like yourself, your
Our
OIC.
office is part of it.
Yeah.
And depending on the nature of the project, who the end user would be, they will also be part of it.
When you
Ministry
say
of
National Road Authority?
In the case of the roads, the National Road Authority. In the case of the airport, Gambia Civil Aviation Authority. In the case of the water and electricity company, NAWEC will be part of it. So like that. So you have all these bodies come together, and then you have relevant government agencies like the Ministry of Justice, because they are the principal legal advisor to the government. The Ministry of Finance, the custodian of government assets and properties. Office of the President being the core of the government. So all these different agencies. Ministry of Works also is a principal actor here, because they supervise the work and things like that. So all of these different agencies that have a stake in whichever project we are talking about, there will be an intergovernmental committee or a platform where these road contracts and procurement activity will take place. So that is how it was done in relation to all the projects that we oversaw.
Araxi was identified for the Battle Hardin Highway expansion.
Yes.
Pavifort and CSC
for the 50 kilometer.
For the 50 kilometer roads.
At least lot 2.
I think Pavifort was lot 1.
Pavifort was lot 2 and
CSC was
lot 1. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The VVIP was Araxi again?
Araxi again.
So Araxi had 2 contracts?
Araxi had 2 contracts, yes, that's correct.
Battle Hardin and this way.
And the airport, yes.
Now, what happened to the, what about the NAWEC contract?
The NAWEC contract, it's still been implemented. The last time
it was contracted to?
It was contracted to, the last time I checked, it was contracted to a Saudi company that I cannot immediately remember, but they had Gambian partners, just like we require all the contractors to have Gambian partners. They have Gambian partner. I think it's called National Construction Company of Saudi or something like that.
That project is still being implemented?
It's still being implemented.
It's not completed.
No, it's not completed 100%. The last time I checked, it was still being implemented, both the water and electricity component. Okay. So it's altogether $32 million.
That was for the NAWEC.
That was for NAWEC.
For water. Okay. Going through those projects, the Battle Hardin Highway remarkably has progressed remarkably, almost 80%, but it's not completely down.
Yes.
The contract is behind schedule a little bit. What would you say was the problem?
No, I don't think Battle Hardin is behind schedule. In the sense that if you look at the work program, Battle Hardin is where it is supposed to be based on the work program. I see. So the work program was such that we did not expect it to be finished before the summit. So that is why, so if you remember well, they are definitely on track. If you remember well, we had the project divided into 2 phases. Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 was supposed to be all the way to Senegambia area to make sure it was done in time for the summit. So that once the summit is over, then we can continue with the rest of the construction. And to our surprise, and to their commendation, they did extremely well. Almost to the traffic. Almost to the traffic. In fact, to the end. Because right now, I observed that they are even laying the asphalt, the first layer of asphalt, all the way to the end at Sincona. So they've been doing remarkably well. And if you look at the scope of the project also, it expanded from its original shape and form. It was meant to be, it was meant to have 2 flyovers. Now we are talking about 3 flyovers. The original project also did not have guardrails as part of the safety mechanisms. Now we have that as well. So the original project also did not have, was only limited to 5 centimeters of asphalt in terms of thickness. And now we are having 10 centimeters, 2 layers. So you can see that the scope has expanded, and because of these expansions as well, as you may know, obviously, the timeline will also be extended. So that is the case with Batil Hardin. But I must say here that they've been doing remarkably well, definitely.
What would happen now that the OIC summit, which many people believe that put all of you and contractors in a pressure, now that is gone, people are beginning to fear whether there will be such any more urgency in terms of the rest of the contract.
Absolutely. The urgency has never been more pressing, in my view, because just like we always like to tell people, the OIC projects transcend just the summit event itself. These are legacy projects that will be here to benefit Gambians long after the summit is gone. We are very much aware of that. We also know that the projects will outlive the summit. Based on that, that is why if you look at the configuration of all these projects, they are such that they will be here to impact life and livelihood long after the summit is gone. So that is why they are not summit centric, if you understand what I'm trying to say. You always say there are projects, legacy projects that will be here. So
the 2 days summit is just one part.
It's just one part of it.
Yeah.
So
but people wanted to know tangibly these benefits. If you went to Dakar, for example, people will point to you some of landmark projects, and institutions, in fact, that came out from their hosting of the 2008 OIC summit. All right. People wanted to know actually whether in real times we will continue to benefit from these projects. See them to their fruition even after the summit.
Absolutely. That's what I was trying to explain earlier on, that nothing will stop these projects from reaching their logical conclusion. All these projects that were initiated in the name of the OIC will continue to be implemented. And one thing that people do not also realize is that not all these projects that were earmarked for the Senegal conference were completed before the summit. The evidence is out there for people to see.
But at least there was commitment and seriousness and continuity until.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That the same level of seriousness and even more is present here. The construction will continue. Nothing will stop it. The vigor would not die down just because the summit event is over. Absolutely not. It will continue. The Batil Hardin project will continue to be constructed. The Nawek and water and electricity project will also continue to be implemented. And here we are talking about changing the transformers of Nawek. We are also talking about replacing their transmission lines. We are talking about
during the summit. So Nawek themselves came out with a statement that I think was self-inflicting PR blunder. They said there are areas that are may go out of power if they are to concentrate on the OIC summit during those days. People felt angry because you're talking about $32 million being given to them to do exactly that, so that everybody would have power at the time. The summit would not cost
with minimal risk.
But that didn't happen.
So that is what I was trying to say.
What do you think happened now? They said actually they have implemented with you that projects with your institution. They said they have implemented, and implementers is going power. Why would they have a need to cut out people's power just to concentrate on OIC, even after having that 32 million?
So I cannot speak for Nawek as to why they decided to do load setting or why they sent out that communication. But what I can definitely say,
if they have to concentrate on OIC, then the people will have to go without it.
So that's what I'm saying. I think we can all appreciate that Nawek is going through some perennial problems, but the problem that Nawek may be going through is what we've also tried to address with the coming of the OIC support. I'm talking about $32 million water and electricity to enhance their water energy generation and distribution capacity. So the entire OIC support to Nawek was premised on addressing those perennial problems of not only generating power, because to my surprise, I understand that Nawek is generating enough power. The problem is the transmission. So that is what we try to address. But like I hinted earlier on,
so there's
the implementation,
a lot of that money left for them to continue.
The money, the money is there. 100%, the money is there for them to carry out. Just like I said, it is going to require.
So it's just like
it will involve.
They too have not completely.
They have not completed the projects. Definitely, they have not. It is work in progress.
The good thing is, it will also mature in good time.
It will mature in good time, and then eventually people will also come to realize the impact of
the OIC money
on
hopefully.
Yes.
But then the hotel.
Yes.
People said Radisson Blue.
Yes.
I remember I said Radisson Blues. If you know the difference. It should have been Radisson Blue, but in our case it's Radisson Blues. We never had a Radisson Blue. The hotel that was the foundation for which was laid amid pomp and pageantry did not even take off the ground. Your office is trying to say that that's no longer your project. You had signed a concession project. It was a different company entity, but it was an OIC project. Much as you've been proud of the battle hand in hand highway, one would have to you are ashamed of the failed hotel projects. But you are not trying to push it to the company that signed the contract. You identified, you agreed with them. So it's your shame as well. Explain what happened. What was
no,
that?
it's not a shame as such. Just like I said to you, obviously when we set out, we set out with very good intentions for the country, but also for the guests that we expect. But more importantly, for the Gambian people. Just like I said, all our projects were conceived with the ultimate vision of having long-lasting impact on lives and livelihoods in the country. But as you know, not all our projects materialize, and one such project is the 5-star hotel project. There's nothing to be ashamed about. I think we have done remarkably well mobilizing and concluding that project. The project is still being implemented. 1 minute, let me go. No.
Clarify to me. In fact, how was it?
1 minute.
People we talk about the OIC project, the money not being here.
Yes, but just one second.
Consumption is clear.
Yes, just 1 second. Let me learn. So
I want to start it. The concessionary agreement. What does it look like? Was it the company of this charm who was going to construct everything pre-finance and then they recoup their money, or what was it like? You said you mobilized money for the project. You were supposed to give him the money. Have you given the money already?
No. So the nature of the financing for the 5-star hotel project is a little bit different from the rest of the projects.
How?
In the sense that other projects usually coming from development financing organizations through grants and loans. But in this case, it was a PPP, wherein the government has an equity in the investment, and the investor also has an equity.
So both are expected to bring money.
Not money. Gambia government's equity to the table was the land that we brought, and it was valued. I think to the tune of 17 to 19 million dollars. I'm not really sure of but the valuation, that is government's contribution. That was the value for the land that we brought to the table, and based on the agreement that we had with the concessionaire, his stake to the his equity was supposed to be the $100 million that it was supposed to be invested, and when it materializes, or now that this has been
no, let's stick to the original plan. Once the hotel is built, how
so after that, then the ownership will be jointly owned by the Gambia government and the concessionaire. So the percentages were worked out. The Gambia government will have a percentage of the stake of the hotel, and the owner also would have its own share. So basically, to answer your question more directly, we did not give him money. We did not raise money and say, money is here, invest. It is his own private money that he was able to raise, that he was supposed to raise, and invest into the business. So that is the situation with that. So, but like I said,
so what happened to the money you said was raised for the hotel? You mentioned that the money is raised.
No, I said we mobilized. Including. So the funds that were also supposed to be invested in the hotel is part of the resources that we are mobilized.
Have those funds. They are spent.
No, we do not have the funds with us. Like I said, these funds are the funds of the investor.
That's what I'm saying. The funds are still there. You said the funds were mobilized. The $300 million was mobilized for the roads, the airports, NAWEC, and the hotel.
Yes.
Now the hotel has not gone.
Yes.
I'm trying to say that the money that was mobilized meant for that hotel, what's going to happen to that? Where is that? It's
So-
still with them. Are you going to continue? Will you continue to tap that money from the donors?
So
if you eventually find a hotel, or
That's what I was trying to say. No, okay, let me take a step back. When I say these monies were mobilized, the Gambia government, through the OIC, was not physically involved in mobilizing these resources from donors. This is the private investor himself committing to make available $100 million to invest into the project. So it was not us going to donors and say we need this 100 million.
I don't understand.
Yes.
You don't understand what I'm saying. I
Yes.
saw that it's going to be private. But I'm trying to say, if your mobilization, you mentioned that you mobilize the funds for the airport, for the roads, and a hotel, a 5-star hotel.
Yes.
That's what you said.
Yes.
Are you still committed, even though the conference is gone, to building a 5-star hotel from the OIC?
Yes.
You're still committed to that?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. So I think I will fall back on what CEO tried to explain the other time, which you misconstrued to be us, running away from the hotel. It is not. So the way that we work is in preparation for the summit. There were strategic projects that were identified as part of our preparations, and that includes the construction of a hotel, the conference center, airport, etc., etc. So the way that we work is we use our goodwill, we use our resources to mobilize funds. By mobilizing funds, it could be in the form of grants, it could be in the form of loans, it could be in the form of investments like the ones for the hotel. So when that happens, we do all that we are supposed to do, midwife the project and make sure it is on a strong footing, and we hand it over to the right government agency to run it. That is what is happening with the Battle Hardin Road project. That is what is happening with the road projects, all the road projects that you see. For example, now the road project is under the management and the supervision of the National Road Authority and the Ministry of Works. The launch project at the airport is under the management and supervision of the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority. Water is with NOEC and electricity. So in the case of the hotel too, our role was limited to making sure we mobilize the resources and make sure whatever arrangement is being done is under a very strong legal footing, in a manner that the interest of the government is protected, and have a body that will take over the management of the hotel. And that is what we have done. So that is what led to the establishment of this body called IMOGAM. This IMOGAM is a special purpose vehicle that was created to manage and oversee the management of the hotel and its ownership. So IMOGAM is the new owner of the 5-star hotel project, and in IMOGAM, Gambia government has a stake and the private investor also has a stake. So that is why CEO was very clear, and rightfully so. He said, our role as far as the hotel is done, was concerned, is done. What we have done is to create a company that now owns the hotel with its own management team, with its own board, with its own team of managers. So if anyone has any question, you direct it to that. I think that is quite fair. So that is what we are saying. And to come back to your previous question, which is the issue of the hotel, whether or not it will continue. Definitely, our expectation is that it is going to continue. And as I speak to you, work is ongoing at the hotel side. It is not going as fast as we would like, but the last time I checked, there was still works going on. The artworks were going on. So the expectation is that the hotel project will continue, and it will continue once it is concluded. Definitely, it will be here to benefit the people of the Gambia. I think it is important for people to understand that the conclusion of the summit is just the beginning. It is not an end in of itself. Perhaps you understand what I mean?
Perhaps I should put the question in another way. That is, okay, the $300 million dollars you mobilize, you were able to mobilize. Is it exhausted?
All these projects are all these funds that we mentioned, the 350, are all dedicated to projects. Just like I said. No, the projects have been implemented.
No, I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Are the money going to really consume? I mean, the projects that have been implemented is going to consume the whole 300 million.
100%. The 300. When we talk about the 300 million, it is the aggregate sum of the value of the different projects that we have under the OIC. For example, the Battle Hardin Highway.
You included a hotel there. That's why I'm asking whether, now that the hotel is not available, whether the sum that might have been allocated for the hotel is still there for us to use.
Yes, my guess is, my hunch is that it is still, just like I said, because the project has not been declared closed, it is still being implemented. The construction, just like I said, the last time I checked, it was still being carried out. It's still being constructed. The project has businesses and assets in its name. The vehicles, there I also see them. They're still. The last time I saw one of them on the road. So my view is that the money. I don't know whether the money is physically available, but my view is that the construction of the hotel will continue. So but I think just like CEO would say, without I think whatever question we have in terms of the future for that hotel would be best answered by the company that owns it now, which is the Imogam company, which has its own management, its own leadership, definitely.
So since you said your organization was very key also in among other institutions that conclude or agree to give contracts to these various contractors. In the case of Imogam, without any contempt or lack of respect, the head of the institute, the head of Imosal was involved in a civil suit. You may say that has nothing to do with OIC,
obviously,
but of course, it brought scandal to him personally. Allegations of having parted with a lot of money for a girl, promise, that's kind of maybe civil and may not have anything to do with the contract. But people see that, okay, you could at least find time to review that agreement, since the person at the head of the other side seemed to be involved in something that may not be that much ideal in terms of reputation. You didn't find it necessary for you to review your agreement with Imosal or Imogam or whatever you call it, in the light of the scandalous things that are coming from the leadership.
Just like you rightly said, those are personal matters that I wouldn't really want to comment on. Number one, but number two,
institutions not naturally want to be associated with people who are a little bit of reputational damage.
Yes. So I think, just like I said, it's a very personal matter, and I do not have the competence to comment on that. But what I do know, and in response to your question, is that I know very well that contracts are subject to periodic review. The government has competent legal advisors in the form of the Minister of Justice and other avenues that are available to it. I'm sure they will do the they will advise themselves accordingly on the best way to approach this matter. But like I said, this is a very personal issue, and I'm afraid I don't have any more comment to make definitely on that matter. Wow. But like I said, I am not the OIC per se, by extension, is also not the competent authority to discuss the legalities around these issues.
Well, it's not like illegal. Nobody says.
But you're taking
somebody's wrong or somebody is.
No, but you're talking about contractual matters that border on reputation and things like that.
If you have contract with a company, and there is a little bit of reputational damage in terms of the leadership of that company, don't you feel it necessary to say, well, can we review and see whether actually we're dealing with people who might be that much above board in terms of credibility?
So
the matter may be private, but you want to say it doesn't bother you in terms of credibility, in terms of whether you might be dealing with a credible organization.
Mr. Cham, I will go back to the same position that as a body or as an organization, it is not in our remit to comment on personal matters, and just like myself personally, I would not want to go that far. But more importantly, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to tell you is that the body that is Imogam now has its own management. It has its own leaders. It has its own board. So I think they'll be best suited to answer that. But for more importantly, to answer your question also, my view is that the government has competent legal advisors and people that will advise based on the situation at hand, and they will look at it and determine. I think for us and for the government, what matters.
You have done your best.
We've done what we are supposed to do, which is to make sure we mobilize the resources that are needed to be able to make sure the country is in a very strong position to host the guests that we anticipate, and that is what we have done. So you know, there are other bodies that are involved, more competent to discuss the issues of contract and the kind of things that you are referencing.
Okay, let's now talk about the assets you acquire. We talk about the infrastructures, all those things now. It initially said that your institution initially said almost 300 vehicles would be acquired, either directly purchased by the government or hired or donated by friendly countries. How many vehicles actually were acquired, whether purchased, borrowed, hired, or donated?
About 350 vehicles.
350 vehicles.
350
How much of
vehicles.
these was directly purchased by government?
From what I understand, about 89 thereabout vehicles were purchased directly purchased by the government of the Gambia. 89 directly purchased by the government of the Gambia, and another set was another set of vehicles rented, and another by a Gambian company. Okay. A Gambian company was engaged to rent and hire those vehicles, and the rest came from our friendly brotherly Republic of Mauritania. They loaned us those vehicles for us to use.
Or they were just borrowed? You borrowed them?
The vehicles from Mauritania, they were borrowed.
So you got to return them?
Yes. In fact, they have been returned.
But how many of them?
100.
100 from
yes,
Mauritania.
100 from Mauritania.
We're now talking about 189. We still have 100 plus to account for. Where are they from? They are hired.
Yes, that's what I mentioned. We have almost 100 vehicles that were bought with government money. Another 100 thereabout rented, and then another 100 coming from Mauritania. Then the rest of the vehicles, some of them were commandeered from our own pool of government vehicles that we have in the country here.
So you actually ended up using more vehicles than these 300?
Yes, that's what I said. I said 350 vehicles were mobilized and utilized for the summit.
But you have 50 or so heads of states that did not turn up. So the vehicles that were meant for them were given to their delegation anyway.
Exactly. The heads of states did not turn up, but delegates
or the senior members of their countries got that.
But all the member countries were represented, and the people that were represented, the vehicle was used in to service them.
So the poor attendance of heads of state had nothing to do with the vehicles because they were already allocated. So and actually everybody turned up in terms of membership. So each one gets your vehicle, whether you come with a head of state or a messenger.
No, there is a formula for the allocation of vehicles. Delegations led by a head of state. If my memory serves me right, it was 1+4 in addition to your security vehicles and other vehicles for your...
So one delegation will have 10 vehicles?
5 up to 10 vehicles.
Oh, I see now.
But sometimes also it depends on the unique circumstances. For example, it's 1+4 for a head of state. So, and for the heads of state vehicle, the one for the principal comes with its own supporting vehicles, like the one for security, the one for his ADC, the one for his protocol officer, and then you have 3 other vehicles of high luxury for his accompanying senior officers. This may include the Minister of Foreign Affairs and other high-level government officers that come with the principal. And then we have a luggage van for you, and where possible also an ambulance. So this is the setup that we adopted. And delegations led by a foreign minister also, we have a formula for it. Delegations led by, so the different ranks based on the status of the head of delegation, we have the allocations in accordance.
So that's why we saw all the razzmatazz moving.
Exactly.
We don't understand what's happening.
Yes.
Okay. That was really
So even the same formula applies to other forms of hospitality that the Gambia government as a host country was extending to delegates. The level of hospitality in terms of accommodation is also informed by the level of... You
secured, well, you said 4,000, but you said you could even be 10,000. Eventually, how many people turned up? Were you able to use all the accommodation?
Yes, the accommodation that we well, let me put it this way: all the guests were fully accommodated. We had no issues accommodating the guests.
That's because maybe the number you were expecting did not turn up?
Well, based on our estimates, yes, the number we expected fully did not turn up, but the range of hospitality facilities, accommodation facilities we had in place were utilized to the maximum.
Okay, so you never had, like you said, happily you don't have any accommodation problem.
No, we did not have any accommodation
You had
issues.
more accommodation than actual guests who turn up.
Yes, so in any case, the plan was to make sure that accommodation was in full supply.
What will happen to those you don't use? Well, the contract is signed anyway, so you have to pay them.
No, I don't think there are cases where we sign people and did not use their accommodation facilities. All the accommodation facilities we...
Oh, so accommodations like the cars, accommodations reserved for example, the Emir of Qatar is given to his Prime Minister.
This is given to the head of delegation from Qatar, okay, because the head of delegation was representing the head of state. So based on that, the accommodation or the hospitality that we had earmarked for the head of state naturally goes to yes, exactly. That's how it works. Yeah.
Your institution once said after this thing, the government has decided that these vehicles will be deployed to government institutions that may need cars. Your chairman said that was the initial plan, but we had the minister saying, well, the government will determine what will happen.
Yes.
So, do you have any role as OIC in the future of these vehicles? So it entirely depends on the government.
Sorry, say it again.
Do you as OIC have any say or any influence as to the fate of these vehicles, or that is the purview of the government that purchases them?
No, it's the purview of the government. I think what CEO was referring to was the fact that the government will determine how it is going to use them. It may be that, they may distribute it across the government and give it to government agencies and ministries that it determine needs more support in terms of mobility. And I think the same sentiment was re-echoed by the Minister of Information when he said the government would subsequently sit down and determine how they are going to handle it. So just to answer your question also, the vehicles were purchased by the government through the Minister of Finance and Office of the President. And I'm sure at the right time, they will also sit down and figure out how the vehicles will be utilized going forward.
Do you know how much vehicles were purchased for? I mean, since your organization is part of all the procurement issues, you probably have knowledge as to how much each vehicle was acquired.
No, I do not have any knowledge on that. The OIC was not involved in the procurement.
The OIC have no knowledge of how
the OIC was not involved in the procurement of those vehicles.
Of those vehicles?
Yes.
Oh, so who were involved? Minister of Finance?
From what I understand, Minister of Finance, yes, they led the process.
OIC was involved in the signing of the contracts, the costing and everything.
Which contract?
I mean the roads and everything, but not this one.
But not the vehicles, because I guess because the financing modalities of that particular project, which is the financing of the vehicles, had nothing directly to do with our office, and because of that, we were not involved in a direct manner.
So you don't know how much each vehicle costs?
No.
Where are the vehicles now?
The vehicles, I am not sure, and what I do know is that we used them for the summit, and after that they were returned to the custodians of government vehicles.
Good. After the summit, the drivers came out. They said that they've been promised payment and you have not paid them. How many drivers did you even engage, and what were the conditions? Did you promise to pay them after the summit?
Yes.
And how much?
So we used, I think, we trained about 400 drivers.
These are government employed drivers or private?
Exactly. They are all government employed drivers.
400
from across the board. Some came from the other security services as well, like the military, the police, and the intelligence.
They are drivers.
Yes, they are drivers. I mean, were used because we also determined that certain level of VVIPs and dignitaries,
they
you can conscious drivers.
And that was
what we did. And just like I said, I think in the case of the drivers, It was just unfortunate that the matter got to where it did. I mean,
whose fault?
To the public.
Promised to pay them.
No, we promised.
They said you gave them promise that you're going to pay them.
Yes, and we never backed down from that promise.
So why didn't you pay them?
No, because the summit had just recently ended, and if you look at the engagement,
you made them understand that it will take a little time to process through.
So look, the way that the Secretariat operates, or especially operated during the summit preparations and the organizing and the planning, was such that we were not directly interfacing with the frontliners. In the case of the drivers, it was the transportation committee that was dealing directly with them. And from what I understand, the day that they even got to the Secretariat, they were invited by the transportation committee to say thank you for a job well done, and that the next plans were being communicated to them. From what I understand, they were not satisfied with those explanations, and that's what led to what it did. But just to be clear,
what were those explanations?
Just to be clear, that that we are thanking you. The next steps will be communicated to you as soon as possible. But so what I wanted to just quickly, is
very vague. I want to know.
Okay, Mr. Cham.
In the first place, were they told that they are going to be paid?
Absolutely, that was absolutely clear.
So when you come back to tell them that next stage will be communicated to you, that doesn't mean that I'm going to pay you.
No.
That you may wait for ages.
The issue of pay was not under contention. From what I understand, the anxiety was around how much we are going to be paid and how soon. So that is what I made very clear when I came out to speak on the matter. Yeah. It was that the issue of whether or not they are going to be paid was never an issue, because we made it extremely clear. Even in the engagement letter that was given to them before the contract started, we said, although you are government drivers, you are under full employment. Yeah. You know these things better than I do. So they were on the yes, exactly.
Government could do that.
Government could do that.
Assign them there.
Government could do that, and we, by virtue of their pre-existing employment, could not have engaged them in another employment contract. You know that better than I do. But what we told them, just let me come exactly. Yeah. That is what we told them in the engagement letter. Yeah. Given that it's special assignment, we will give you honorarium. Good. That is what we can pay them. It is not to. That is the compensation. So that was made absolutely clear to them.
But you didn't tell them when and how and how much.
No, in fact, the engagement letter did state that it is going to be a 10-day engagement. Okay. And we were just on the, I think it was on the 8th day of that engagement that they came and started demanding their money. But more importantly, I think the matter is resolved now. We've paid them what is due to them. Yes, we've paid them. We've paid them yesterday.
After they protested?
Yeah, no, not because they protested. It's just that government business is not as fast. These things.
But I wasn't told them, in the first place.
That was, Mr. Cham, I know what I'm telling you. It's just that sometimes people can be a little bit impatient, and which is understandable also. In my view, I think it was,
Apart from them, do you or any other group of
volunteers, nobody has been paid. Not the protocol officers, not the police and the security officers, not the other players in this whole OIC. It's just the drivers that just thought, they needed to be paid almost immediately, even before their contract period was exhausted.
Others might be thinking of following the drivers' example, because they have got paid after
everybody will be paid.
Will be paid. Everybody. So there is no need for any other group to go
there is no need for it. There is no need
when they hear the drivers have been paid after the protest, they might be tempted to do the same.
No, well, I think, people approach and see things differently. As soon as possible. As soon as possible. Hopefully, maybe next week before the week ends, everybody will be rightly compensated.
Wow.
Yes. So they've been paid, each one of them, $8,000, and each of those drivers. Yes.
How are you saying? Each driver?
Each driver, $8,000.
$8,000. Okay. I thought you said each driver $350,000.
No.
Are you talking about the whole money?
350, the number. Of drivers involved.
8,000.
And just to demonstrate the goodwill.
That's a good money.
And just to demonstrate the goodwill that we have.
That's perhaps twice their salaries in some
exactly.
cases.
And just to demonstrate the goodwill that we've always had for these drivers and all our volunteers, we had a 3-day training session with them. Each day they were paid $500. We also did, yes, they were being fed lunch, breakfast, and dinner. We also had medical screening for all the drivers that were involved. Yeah. And for the medical screening also, we gave them money. We gave them money. The screening was for free, but also we gave them money as transportation refund for that. Okay. So you could see that, you were being professional. Yes, we were being professional. Yeah. There was a lot of goodwill on our side to make sure that the drivers and everybody else that is involved in the planning and the organization of the summit is looked after and well taken care of. But just like I said, in their own wisdom,
they were a little bit impatient.
They thought, yes, it was, So, but the most important thing here is just to thank them for their service. They did well. The summit could not have been successful without them.
Maybe there are because among them who they like money, so they probably are the one who who started the whole trouble.
So, but nonetheless, we value them. We value our relationship with them, and we oblige and pay as much as soon as possible.
This is a Gambian project.
Yeah.
So underneath, everybody is happy that we have hosted a summit of organization of Islamic cooperation. We have got expanded roads. We have got the VIP. We've got enhancement in electricity and water
conference
supplies.
Center.
We've got a fantastic conference center. So by and large and by all standards, no one can dispute that we have gained. But what Gambians really want is to make sure that we gain in the most effective, efficient, and transparent way. That is what's inviting all these commentaries and misconceptions, what you would see as misconceptions and what you would see as people sabotaging. It's all for the betterment of the country.
Absolutely. And
so I can see from now, after all what you've gone through, you have lost a lot of quite a number of pounds, I guess. How would you say, looking back to the OIC summit?
And also just to pick up from where you stopped, for us at the Secretariat, we don't look at the increased interest that we got from the public in a negative way. The public scrutiny, in our view, is in fact good for us. It shows that the public is keenly interested in what we are doing. They are taking ownership and they are interested in, the work that we are doing that will impact lives and livelihoods in this country. I think for me, as an individual, this is a big honor for me. It was both a very rewarding and learning experience for me to be able to be part of this whole process from the beginning and be part of the people behind doing our best to make sure at the end of the day Gambia is the ultimate winner. So when in people's perspective they perceive it to be a successful event, definitely it is a big moment of pride for all of us. So what I like to tell people is that this is just the beginning. The conclusion of the summit is just the beginning. The Gambia OIC relationship will continue to grow and grow. And the possibilities that are there is huge. This country will continue to benefit. I just quickly, let me make this quick point. What I want people to also understand is that, for projects of this magnitude, you don't get to finish all your infrastructure projects 100%. Even the World Cup in Qatar, even the World Cup in other countries.
World Cup is 4 years after that
you get to see the dividend. And even in the case of Senegal, that is what happened. There's a reason why the Senegalese brought that floating hotel. It's because their hotels were not ready. They did not have even a befitting place for catering for the heads of state.
But then
so even the road works were also not completed. If you just go online and just search Senegal preparation for the OIC. So in our case, I think for people to expect all these road projects to be completed 100% was a little bit too far-fetched. But what happened is that we managed to host this summit in a very good way. The guests that came, the organizers, all of them were appreciative of the logistical arrangements we have in place. And, we in fact received a commendation letter from the government of Iran and the ECOWAS president. We continue to receive that. All of them expressing excitement and commending us for what we were able to put in place. And in fact, in our private conversations with some of these delegations, they said to us, if we had known what we saw, we would have increased our level of representation. So I think in our view, that is indeed a remarkable opportunity and a remarkable achievement, because for us, we see this summit as an opportunity to showcase the best of Gambia, and we have really succeeded in that. So in these delegates what we are capable of as a country. And I'm sure if we call in the future, they will have no qualms responding to our call in the manner that we would want it. And also under our chairmanship, Gambia is expected to take the lead in all OIC matters. We are hoping to see a lot of exhibitions, a lot of conferences, a lot of meetings come to the Gambia. Probably not at the level of the summit, but we can anticipate seeing, Council of Foreign Ministers Summit, a lot of ministerial meetings here. We can anticipate to see a lot of OIC activities here. So this is just the beginning, and hopefully we will continue to tap into the resources and the possibilities that are available across the OIC family. The OIC is involved in quite a range of sectors, at the geared towards making sure the Muslims all around the world realize their fullest potential in terms of sustainable development, in terms of research, science and technology, in terms of all aspects of progress. So we'll continue to see more happening, and the thinking at the level of the government is to make sure that the entire Gambian society, both public and private, is involved. Hopefully we will see a national conversation or a national dialogue around how Gambia can approach this chairmanship of the OIC, and this will include the civil society, private sector, and other sectors. So my message to people is, this is just the beginning. Inshallah, there is more to come, and hopefully we would leverage this opportunity and make sure lives and livelihoods are significantly impacted by the coming of the OIC and our assumption of the chairmanship.
What will become the fate of your secretariat, OIC itself?
The OIC secretariat, just like I said, is established by an act of parliament. Originally, our mandate was focused on the summit itself, the summit organization of the summit itself. But then, yes, now that it is over, the thinking is that it is going to metamorphose its objectives and also its mandate to, becoming a very productive agency that will be there to support the president as the Gambia hosts the chairmanship, to make sure we lead the effort.
You're expecting it to survive the 3 years
the 3 years chairmanship of the Gambia, because this is a Herculean task. We don't want it to the chairmanship to just be another.
What more would you do as OIC secretariat? I mean, if the president is chairman, that will be his government directly involved. When the foreign ministry is there, why would we need the OIC secretariat?
Yeah,
are still paid in dollars.
No, we are not paid in dollars.
You said that the Saudis were paying in dollars.
No. We are not paid in dollars. We are paid in dollars.
But at the rate,
and that is there for everybody to see. Just like CEO said, our accounts and our financial management is subject to public
you will be audited,
records. We are audited all the time, In fact, I think.
But I think the secretariat the administrative costs have been borne by the Saudis.
Yes, the operational cost of the secretariat is paid for by the Saudis.
And allowances.
The salaries, the allowances. No, the monies come in dollars, obviously, because it is coming from Saudi. But we are paid in dollars.
Yes, of course. If we change the dollar into dollars, but your salaries will
it's just like how if I want to convert your salary in dollars, I can safely say Lamin Cham is
no. You will not even get $100.
But to answer your question more directly,
you expect the OIC, the argument will be whether we need it within the next 3 years of our chairmanship. You are saying, yes, you might, because obviously as an institution, you have already got networked and interacted and integrated so that it might be easy for his chairmanship to still use you.
Absolutely. And we also have a lot of assets that were mobilized in the name of the OIC. The VVIP lounge, the conference center, etc. All of those things need proper management. And the Gambia as a country also is looking towards positioning itself as a conference destination. So the same way that the government in its wisdom thought it wise to set up a secretariat dedicated squarely for the organization of the summit, I think the same way it will be important to have an organization that will be dedicated to supporting the president carry out its role as the chairman of the organization.
Other facilities like the roads have been given to the Ministry of Works.
Yes,
why wouldn't the conference center be given to the Ministry of Tourism?
No, but you need to understand that usually history has taught us that
given to
history.
So you don't need an IOC office anymore to run those things.
Yes, this history will tell us that.
Oh, I
when
see.
you
I
leave,
always
when you
Olympic committee. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, we all know landmark edifices and buildings in this country, and even projects. Usually, when you leave them in the hands of central government agencies that have their mandate cut out for them, usually they get overwhelmed. Yes. And we all know what happens. And in our case, we've done remarkably well managing the conference center in the past 4 years. It is in its current
it is just people have been wondering whether it won't really last in this state.
It will.
Maintenance, cleaning, and stuff like that.
You come to the conference center quite frequently.
Yeah, I was there last night.
Exactly.
At the Fab Lunch.
At the Fab Lunch, you've seen that we are doing a great job maintaining the landscape, maintaining the place, cleaning it, making sure it is in the best form as far as its operational efficiency is concerned. And even in terms of the management, we are doing remarkably well. Just last year alone, close to $100 million was raised from activities at the conference center, and we have all seen an increase.
OIC or it goes to the it goes to OIC?
Yes, the money is reinvested into largely reinvested into maintaining the place. Part of that
raised domestically.
Yes, raised domestically. Wow. Part of that money was pumped into the fence project, into maintaining the place, renovating it. So and this entire time, our focus has been making sure it is OIC Summit ready. So you can imagine if we want to fully expand and use the facility to its fullest glory, what could come out of it. So that would mean we would also have to go out and start lobbying for big international conferences in the name of the country, on behalf of the country, so that they can come here. And we have seen already that most of these international organizations, especially the ones that are in the sub-region, the UN, the AU, etc., most of their meetings, they now have them here in the country. So we'll continue to work on that, leveraging on that opportunity, that possibility, to make sure that Gambia becomes a leader. Because what we have also seen, even in terms of the mainstream tourism, we have seen kind of like a little bit of a decline. So I think it will be very strategic of the country to look towards conferencing and international meetings and exhibitions. That is what the value chain that we would be interested in working on and developing, to making sure that we can leverage on that as a country.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Nfally, I have to thank you very much, both for what you have done on under the circumstances and the organization of the OIC Summit, the organization of Islamic Cooperation Summits, and for sharing your perceptions and information on the brunch. We thank you very much for coming on the brunch.
Thank you very much.
Any parting words very quickly?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm glad to be here to discuss one of the most successful events in the history of our country. What I would like to leave with the viewers today is to reflect on what our role has been as a host country, what is expected of us, and we have delivered in all those respects. You think of the accommodation, we never had issues with the accommodation. You think of the food, the same. We never had any issues feeding all the guests that came for the summit, be it at the conference center, be it at their residences. We never had issues transporting them. We never had issues accrediting them and making sure that the badging is in place. We never had issues making sure the conference facility is up to date, fully functional for them to use. In fact, they were shocked and surprised by all the facilities that they saw and the manner in which we were able to coordinate the entire ceremonies, both at the airport and at the conference center. And to me, if you ask me, this is what success looks like. So the people that said we have not succeeded, we have failed, I want to really ask, what is it that we have failed at? Because as far as we are concerned, as a host country, These are the expectations
Well,
that were expected of us, and that is what we have.
You couldn't deliver a hotel.
Yes, but nonetheless, we were able to provide a 5-star experience for the people that came. Yeah. So if out of 100 projects, there is only one that we are not able to deliver.
At least the score will be 8
yes,
over 10.
so exactly.
How much would you give yourself? 8 over 10, OIC. 8 over 10, 7 over 10, 6 over 10?
9.5 over 10. Well, to be honest, yes, there is much to learn from, to be honest. If I am to be, fully candid in our own assessment, there is so much we could have done better, to be honest. But under the circumstance, we did our extreme best, and I'm really, really proud to be associated with this. We have done really well for the country, because what people also need to bear in mind, my big brother, is that each one of those individuals that came here, they live with their own unique experiences of the Gambia. And each one of them would become an ambassador for this country. I'm very confident of that. I was privileged enough to be, up close with most of these dignitaries. And from our conversations with them, even the OIC themselves, they were really, really impressed. And even if you look at the quality of the resolutions that came out of our Banjul meeting, that also speaks volume of the kind of leadership that the Gambia is going to take.
Well, I didn't
so it was
go there, because that is OIC matters. I know the summit, we organize the summit, but they own the organization.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it goes without saying that they were visibly impressed with what they saw, with the arrangements, the logistics, and we as a country, we take great pride in that.
Absolutely.
Because we've been able to showcase what Gambia can offer the world. Each one of those people that came would not have an issue.
Wow, there we go. We're still on air.
We are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Nfally, thank you very much for being on the brunch.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm having messages from people.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who were, one of my good friends. Akunduzela?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Kairaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980 8483 340 9400 or 635 9906.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Brusubi opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited, or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051, or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
Agada.
Mbijan aganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birin koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia ja.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol dil fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo mo yo diat ha.
Apelenta
baraka ba. Ni ma lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bu kanina ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.